I think the San Antonio Spurs came out of this one feeling great about what they were able to accomplish.
Yeah, I don't mind that. But in Toronto, let me tell you something, Sylvie. Free agents don't grow on trees. There aren't guys that are going to just want to sign in Toronto. So if you got a smoking chance and you didn't see what happened with Paul George, that everyone you can say look, I talked to Paul George. Paul let me know he wants to be in L.A. He let everybody know that. It wasn't a secret. And somehow Oklahoma City, and I'm sure none of you saw him staying in Oklahoma City, got him to stay. They underachieved in the playoffs. It wasn't a great-looking team, but you know what he valued? Loyalty. You know what Kawhi doesn't see right now from anyone? Loyalty. He's been thrown under the bus by teammates, from the organization, from the coaches. He's been the bad guy.
Hold on real quick. I'm sorry, Sylvie. The thing is, Paul George has somehow become the ray of hope, the light for all of you faith seekers, that you can do deals that defy all reason and logic and hope. For some reason, in the next year, you can convince a guy who's made it clear to the tune of $100 million he's bypassed to stay in San Antonio, made it clear, I want to be in L.A. And by the way, there are reports he is not happy about going to Toronto. So you keep running Paul George out there as your singular example. I'll take Kawhi at his word. I think Tom is right. I think the Spurs are going home high-fiving, Ryan. I think they can't believe they got this deal. All reports were that people were laughing off Jaylen Brown. No, you're not getting Jaylen Brown for a year of Kawhi. You want Markelle Fultz for a year of Kawhi? No, thank you, said Philly. And somehow they pulled DeMar DeRozan out of this deal? San Antonio's done it again.
You know what you're missing out on if you didn't pay attention? Paul George told me he wants to be in L.A. When things changed, he committed to Oklahoma City, the first team that stepped up.
Is he the exception to the rule, though? Is that the outlier?
Yeah, look,
because Paul George decided to stay in Oklahoma City doesn't necessarily mean that Kawhi Leonard is going to want to stay in Toronto.
But Waddle, 4 years at UCLA, I was a history major. One thing I know about history, it repeats itself. And when I look at the situation, they got to try. Toronto will not sign a large free agent. Can they overpay guys? Can they bring guys in? They got to make trades, okay? They got to take different routes. They can get a C.J. Miles, a Van Fleets. They can get their core intact. But when you got a guy like Kawhi Leonard in the East that can put you over the top, you got to take a chance for your fan base.
As a four-year finance major with a degree in finance from Boston College, what I understood was money speaks loudly. And the fact that he was willing to pass on a max deal with San Antonio, and it feels like he's willing to pass on a lucrative deal from Toronto to go to Los Angeles. I'm not going to marry myself to the hopes that Kawhi Leonard is going to follow the same path that Paul George followed. And is Kawhi Leonard, is he willing and is he able? I mean, we still have questions
mentally and physically.
Right, we have questions about him physically. And is he going to buy into what they're trying to accomplish?
Brian, you said they're not going to be able to sign anybody in Toronto. Here you had a 28-year-old all-NBA player in his prime who committed, who you don't have to worry about free agency-wise to 2021. If you don't like DeMar DeRozan this year after they go and try and get through the East with no LeBron James, then you can always trade him and add assets that way. To me, you're not maximizing DeMar DeRozan's value when you trade him for a one-year guy in Kawhi, and you're not even close to being the best team in the NBA for that 1 year.
Hey, Sylvie, let me help you with something. Last year, where did they go? Where did they go in the playoffs?
Well, they didn't, and they lost to Cleveland, but they were the #1 seed in the East.
And the reason that they have been out of the playoffs for the last several years has been two words: LeBron James, LeBron James.
Let me ask you guys something.
No. You know how long Kawhi Leonard lasted being outside the shadow of LeBron James?
How long?
And I'm sorry, DeMar DeRozan. 2 weeks. 2 weeks, DeMar DeRozan got to live without LeBron James. Poor DeMar DeRozan has gone from having LeBron James oust him out of the East. Now he has to go deal with them in the West. Toronto could have stayed pat, man, and they would. Yes, Boston's getting better. Yes, Philly's getting better. But they sacrificed their entire future for this 1 year.
You're going to skim over that? Let me ask you guys something.
Skim over what?
Let me ask you guys something. I'm going to throw it out. If LeBron James returns to Cleveland, and that potentially was a possibility, let's say he returns to Cleveland, you think he was the favorite in the East? Do you think he was better than the Boston Celtics? And is the Boston Celtics still in the East? So you tell me that this Raptors team didn't need to improve, you lost your mind.
They need to improve, but they didn't maximize. What is getting Kawhi Leonard for 1 year and then him leaving you next year? What does it get you? It will get you a big fat nothing.
You know what it gives you? Let me give you something. It gives you, in today's NBA, can we all agree you win with versatility? Golden State, Boston, that's one thing they showed us. You play positionless basketball. You get a couple guys that are 6'8" to 6'9" that can guard every position. I'm looking at Kawhi, Pascal Siakam, OG Anunoby, and Danny Green, who can play big and stretch the floor. So you got guys you can piece together around Kyle Lowry, Valanciunas, Ibaka, if he has anything left, that can at least switch out and play today's NBA. Because they didn't play today's NBA. And what I want to ask you something, brother, because you're a former athlete.
Compare those degrees.
Hey, well, we're not comparing
they're
degrees.
both fine.
They're
They're
a
both
little
great.
different.
They're both great.
He trumped me with. That's okay, brother. As an athlete, you mean to tell me loyalty means nothing? Because that's what you're telling me.
No,
Toronto
I'm not telling
stepped
you
up.
that. No, I heard you the other day
Toronto was
suggest
not
that.
loyal. Toronto was the team that got rid of the guy who committed to their city, not a basketball city, and they got rid of him.
Yeah, what
They told
loyalty
him
are you talking about?
Well, Oklahoma City got rid of guys, but they had loyalty to Paul George. We're talking about Kawhi Leonard.
Well, I don't think that
Everybody's throwing you under.
I don't think Kawhi Leonard is going to express loyalty to the Toronto Raptors after this year. That is a huge reach to think that he is going to follow the same path that Paul George. In fact, I think Kawhi Leonard's probably been more demonstrative, telling people that he wants to go to Los Angeles, even more so than Paul George.
No, hold on. To Tom's point.
what?
He didn't answer. He's still ducking. There's no point.
And
He's
loyalty-
still ducking. He didn't. You as an athlete, tell me in your career that loyalty meant nothing to you.
Oh, loyalty meant a lot to me.
When an organization stepped up for you, you felt inclined to play harder, commit yourself, right?
Are you saying loyalty that Toronto can show to Kawhi over the next year? I'm trying to figure out.
I'm asking my man a question. I would like to get
Well,
the
San
answer before
Antonio
we
expressed
proceed,
loyalty.
Will.
They were offering him a max deal. So San Antonio was expressing
So you
loyalty.
don't think they threw him under the bus? He wasn't thrown under the bus. Kawhi Leonard wasn't thrown under every bus, from the coaching staff to the organization to that foolish players-only meeting. You think that was loyalty?
I don't believe he's been thrown under the bus. No, I just don't. I don't believe he's been thrown under the bus.
I can't believe that. I cannot believe that.